Mephiston, the Lord of Death, is the master of the Librarius and the chief librarian of the Blood Angels chapter. He is the only member of the Blood Angels or their successors among the Sanguinary Brotherhood known to have defeated the Bull of the Black Rage not once but twice in his life, regaining his sanity both times. He is a librarian of potent ability, believed to be one of the mightiest psykers in the entire Imperium of Man. As a young Lexicanium, originally named Battle Brother Calistarius, Mephiston first served as a battle psyker of the Blood Angels Librarian and as an honorary member of the First Company under Captain Raphael during the cleansing of the infamous Space Hulk Sin of Damnation in 589 M41. The Librarian's powerful mind and supernatural abilities set him apart from his battle brothers, an isolation he seemed to encourage. Calistarius had faced the horrors of the warp and daily wrestled with damnation and temptation. As a result, Calistarius found it difficult to look upon his fellow space marines with any empathy. In truth, he inhabited an entirely different sphere of existence, but his precognitive powers and devastating psychic blasts were a priceless asset to Captain Raphael. As Brother Calistarius, Mephiston was a librarian of exceptional valor and strength of character, yet the Black Rage cares not for the nobility of the soul nor the deeds of the flesh. Whilst fighting before the walls of Hades' hive during the Second War for Armageddon, the curse of Sanguinius finally stole upon him. Inducted into the Blood Angels' Death Company, Calistarius took part in the final assault on the Ecclesorium building at Hades' hive and was amongst those buried when the complex collapsed. Crushed but not dead, the fallen librarian lay trapped for many solar days, screaming and raging as he battled the madness brought on by the flow. Finally, on the seventh night, he emerged victorious, smashing his way out of the rubble as a new and terrible being. Gone was Calistarius. In his place stood Mephiston, one of the most powerful psykers ever to bless the Emperor of mankind's name, and the only Blood Angel ever to conquer the Black Rage. The change in him was unprecedented. His physical and mental might pushed to extremes by his reawakened gene seed. His resurrection did not go unnoticed, however, as Mephiston heaved aside the massive boulders from his makeshift tomb. The sound of scraping stone drew the attention of a band of orcs still roaming the ruins. Coming upon the stricken Astartes, the orcs thought Mephiston appeared to be easy prey, as he was weaponless and his armor was in ruins. They soon came to rule the decision to attack the helpless space marine. Outmatched by Mephiston's speed, 5 orcs died within seconds as the Astartes rained down powerful blows upon them that pulverized flesh and shattered bone, and a dozen more swiftly followed. Too stupid to realize that they were outmatched, the orcs pressed the attack, but the reborn Blood Angel continued to fight the brutal orcs until Mephiston punched a large hole clear through the chest of the largest orc and ripped out his heart. His ruined armor slick with the blood of his foes, Mephiston began the long walk to the Imperial lines. Since that day, Mephiston has risen swiftly through the ranks of the Blood Angels, and now holds the office of Chief Librarian. He is a figure of awe and reverence to most of his battle brothers, who perceive him as a savior in these times of war. Others are not so accepting, for they have difficulty recognizing the Calistarius of old in Mephiston. Calistarius was voluble, yet Mephiston's tongue is silent save at times of great need. Calistarius sought the company of his brothers both on and off the battlefield, yet Mephiston spends silent hours alone in thought, and his face, though noble beyond compare, somehow speaks of a soul still ill at ease. Perhaps these changes were inevitable, given the trial of transformation. Shortly after defeating the Black Rage on Armageddon, Mephiston's strength, psychic, physical, and martial, surpassed those of almost all his battle brothers, and he quickly rose to become the chief librarian of the Blood Angels, granted the title Lord of Death. His psychic powers are so great that few can surpass him, and no other member of the Astartes could best him. His skill in combat is comparable to the greatest of heroes that the Imperium of Man has ever known. Some say that a part of the true power of his Primarch runs through him since his defeat of the Black Rage, and he is indeed a true son of Sanguinius. Upon the world of Cybele, one of the most dire events in the Blood Angels' long history came to pass in the form of Brother Archeo, who possessed the sacred chapter relic known as the Spear of Telesto, and proclaimed himself to be the reincarnation of Sanguinius. Fealty was given to the so-called reborn angel by many within the ranks of the Blood Angels' 6th Company. Unknown to the Blood Angels, an Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor named Remius Steele, a secret servant of the Runus powers, manipulated the situation to cause a schism within the chapter. After Gallio and Vaude were both killed by Archeo's loyalists, Mephiston decided that he, not Commander Dante, should go and deal with Archeo. He reasoned that since he was a psyker, he could better detect the taint of chaos upon Archeo and his followers. Mephiston arrived on the Blood Angels' shrine world of Sapien to judge Archeo and turn the powers of his formidable witch sight upon him. He saw the carefully hidden seed of chaos that Steele had planted inside Archeo and denounced the reborn angel as false and Inquisitor Steele as a heretic. Mephiston then challenged Archeo to a duel, but before it began, Archeo's biological brother, Sergeant Raffen, a fellow Blood Angel, arrived and offered to challenge him instead. Raffen was one of the few Blood Angels of the 6th Company who had doubted the veracity of Archeo's supposed resurrection, keeping faith with the Emperor and their Primarch, and formally denounced his brother as false. Mephiston looked into Raffen's mind and saw that he had seen a vision of Sanguinius and that he was destined to fight Archeo. The Lord of Death allowed Raffen to take his place, and the two siblings dueled to the death. After Raffen wounded Archeo and fled, the corrupted Inquisitor Steele ordered the loyalist Blood Angels and the warriors of the Angel Reborn to attack Mephiston and his entourage. Eventually, Raffen emerged triumphant, impaling Archeo through the heart with the Spear of Telesto. Archeo died begging for his brother's forgiveness. After his sibling's death, the true master behind the nefarious chaos plot revealed himself, Malphalax, a greater demon of Tzeentch. Malphalax and Inquisitor Steele had entered into a devil's bargain with War Master Garand of the Word Bearers Traitor Legion to turn the Blood Angels to chaos by using Archeo as a false messiah. When Archeo was killed by his sibling Raffen, Steele attempted to summon Malphalax, intending to have the demon possess his slave Ulan. Instead, Malphalax betrayed the Inquisitor and possessed Steel's body, fully manifesting on the mortal plane as a Lord of Change. Malphalax then attempted to cause the Blood Angels to succumb to the Black Rage, but was in turn banished by Raffen using the Spear of Telesto. By the time Raffen defeated Malphalax, Mephiston's iron will had snapped, and he fell once more into the Black Rage. Raffen directed the power of the Spear of Telesto at Mephiston, breaking the hold of the curse upon the great Librarian for a second time. In the year 977 M41, the demon Makar trapped Mephiston in the crystal caves of Solon V. He then attempted to lure Mephiston into joining Chaos as a renegade, claiming that Mephiston was already firmly on the path to demonhood. Mephiston rejected his captor's claims and throttled the life out of Makar. Shortly before the devastation of Baal, Mephiston suffered repeated dreams of the bloodthirster Kabanda, hated foe of the Blood Angels, appearing to destroy his chapter. Determined to prevent this, Mephiston and his disciples, Gaius Rassilus and Lucius Antros, journeyed to the Krua Mountains on Baal to undertake a ritual to open up a portal to Khonz's realm and kill Kabanda before he could be a threat. The ritual, however, was ultimately flawed, and a cave-in trapped the Librarians for the rest of the battle. At some point following the devastation of Baal, Mephiston was converted into a Primaris Space Marine. During the procedure, Mephiston nearly died, but found himself in the warp and came before the Sanguinary and Black Angel. An apparent avatar of Sanguinius appeared and told Mephiston that he is doomed to become the Black Angel, but if he accepted the entity into his body now, it could act as a prison and weaken the Black Rage within the chapter for a time. However, this would come at the cost of becoming a pariah and damning his soul. The chief librarian apparently accepted, displaying dark new abilities and stating that he both is and isn't Mephiston. Against the wishes of Astorath, Dante decided to not execute the reborn Mephiston. Now a Primaris Space Marine, during the Psychic Awakening, Mephiston used his psychic abilities to aid the Blood Angels during the Angels Halo campaign to reclaim the Red Scar systems, which have been invaded by Hive Fleet Leviathan following the devastation of Baal. Mephiston has become embroiled in an effort to foil the plans of Magnus the Red and the Demon Prince Zadkiel, foreseeing disaster should their plans come to pass. He managed to infiltrate the planet of the sorcerers and foil the attempts of Zadkiel to summon 9 silver towers to Terra. Mephiston is armed with the Force Sword Vitaris and a plasma pistol. He wears Artificer armor, which incorporates his ornate psychic hood. Overcoming the Black Rage enabled Mephiston to release his full psychic potential, and he is able to call on any number of psychic powers related to the Blood Angels. Since his rebirth, Mephiston's powers have grown significantly. He is capable of projecting his mind into even psychically attuned Eldar, driving them to rage and madness. He can split his soul into multiple doppelgangers, allowing him to do multiple feats at once. He is capable of stopping and even reversing time, but this power is alluring and potentially dangerous, as he still ages within the post periods and could potentially waste his entire life while the universe remains frozen in place around him. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, leave a comment for the algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned for more of Warhammer 40K lore.